Here is a quick overview of the transportation policies in Westwind School Division. The main thing is the school division strongly believes, but doesn't absolutely require, that all transportation occurs by bus. Now, there's a bit of nuance here. So for co-curricular events, that's basically your standard field trips. Those things are happening usually during the school day. So the division makes a little bit of a dividing line between events that are during the school day and then ones that are outside the regular school day. And then there's also a further dividing line between curricular and co-curricular, or extracurricular and co-curricular events. Co-curricular ones are events that support the delivery of curricular content. So that's in Westwind Alternate, that's pretty much everything that we do is co-curricular. So the big things are the bus driver can't also be the supervisor. So you have to have a supervisor on the bus to manage the kids. That can also be a parent, doesn't have to be a teacher. Then also know that the principal has to approve all the field trips, and that occurs 2 weeks before, and there's actually a form that should be filled out, just basically saying sort of how this is related to classwork. Because our stuff in the alternate school is so experiential, we know that all trips are going to support that curriculum. And you're mainly just looking for approval that the principal knows what's happening with that trip. For things outside of the province, things are a lot more complicated, and you need to spend at least 6 weeks in advance so the board has time to meet so they can approve or deny those transportation requests. The big thing that always gets me with field trips, if you're taking the buses, it's that you have to have a form 562-1, and that just lists all the passengers and the supervisors and where you're going. That way, if a bus doesn't make it back, the transportation department knows, hey, where are these people? Or if an accident happens, they've got the list of students that then can be contacted for the parents. So that's really what that list is for. And so that has to go out before you actually leave on the trip. If it gets sent back after the fact, then if there's an accident during the trip, who are they going to contact? That you won't have that information. I think that's mostly it. The private vehicles are allowed in some situations, but you're definitely going to get frowned on for that. So when possible, we'll take the bus. Now, if the buses are impossible to take, then you can use private vehicles, but there's a lot of rigmarole involved in that. And that's keeping the licenses and insurance, copies of insurance on file for the drivers. And then if the drivers are taking any students who aren't their own custodial children, then there has to be a waiver signed by the parent with a specific date in the event. It can't just be a general, I allow so-and-so to take my child. It would have to be specific to that event on this day for this field trip. And then it would be the back and forth. So the big issue with those ones is you have to know that, hey, if a student is leaving part way through the field trip, maybe they're getting picked up by a parent, then you have to have a note with that, because you're going to have to check your lists to see, oh, who's there, and if Jane isn't coming on the trip, where's the waiver that says she was picked up by a parent, just so no children are left behind. That would be the worst thing that could ever happen. That's basically it for transportation.